Hey, do you wanna try and do some grunge drums today? Let's do this.
Won't you leave me? Won't you find me? Won't you let me?
So how's everyone doing? It's been a while, I know, I'm sorry. It's been some tough days. It was also my birthday, so I took a break, you know? I ate a little, I got fat, and here I am, back on YouTube. And I'm here today because the cool guys at UJAM, they asked me to check out their new plugin, Virtual Drummer Brute. That sounds really weird in my accent, but yeah, Virtual Drummer Brute. Virtual Drummer Brute. I guess that's how you say it. Just before we start, let me tell you, they gave me this plugin for free, which is awesome because I'm poor. But they did not ask me to say anything specific about it. So if it sucks, I can say it suck. And if it doesn't suck, I can say it doesn't suck. And I can say whatever I want. But I gotta tell you, the very special thing about this plugin and the reason why they sent it to me is because it's a plugin made specifically for grunge and hardcore and kind of heavy drum sounds, you know, from the 90s and early 2000s. And that's when I started making music. And that's the kind of music I make. 90s music that no one cares about anymore. But apparently it's giving like a full cycle now and people are starting to like pop punk again. But what I hear out there, it's not very impressive. But I still like the 90s stuff for sure. That's called being old, right? Old people. Our stuff is always better than the new stuff. It's just how it is. If you're young, someday you get there. It's unavoidable. Anyways, I'm going on a tangent, aren't I? It's been too long since I've made a video and I have so many things in my mind. I gotta say so many things. But let's check out this plugin. And to check out this plugin, I made a demo. You know me, right? What I like to do more is making music. And I made this demo with the mindset of, cool, this is a grunge plugin. I'm gonna do a grunge song. I'm good at grunge. I loved grunge and I can do grunge tunes. I tried to do a grunge tune. I don't know if it is a grunge tune. That's the thing that Julian does best. He sets out to do something and he accomplishes something else. But it's grungy, okay? So this is the song I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna show you first the verse.
Been a while since I've been living inside a screen, going places, seeing faces, but never feeling anything. Untitled.
And the chorus is way heavier and there's a trick to making the chorus heavier by using drum plugins and I'll show you guys exactly what I mean, but check out the chorus, how much heavier and bigger the drums are.
Won't you leave me? Won't you find me? Won't you let me go? Won't you let me fade? Let me fade.
Anyways, that's the chorus. Let me solo the drums now so you guys can check out how they sound. These are the drums in the verse. And these are the drums in the chorus. So the kick and the snare are much bigger in the chorus, so stick around to learn how to do that. But first, let's take a look at the plugin. After all, this video is about this plugin, right? So this is it right here, UJAM Virtual Drummer Brute. So edgy, so rock and roll. Anyways, the cool thing about this plugin is that it has very cool presets. It's very simple to see everything. Like it has literally this little keyboard up here that shows you exactly what key on your keyboard plays what piece on the drums, which is like, if you've been playing MIDI drums for a while, you kind of already know this, but if you're new playing MIDI drums, this is really helpful. And it also has this cool little loop section here. This is just like drum loops that takes another section of your keyboard and you can just press one button and it plays for you. So I'll show you how it works quickly. So if I press C1 here, see, that's the kick. If I press C3 and hold it, that's a little loop, which is cool. If you don't want to really play your drum parts on your keyboard or draw them in your DAW, you can just use the loops that comes with the plugin, which is really cool. The best thing about this plugin, I think, is how simple it is. Everything is really well laid out. You got the little help here with the keyboard. You have the section here. That's the key section of this plugin, so we come back to it later. And also you can easily see your drum pieces down here, and you can also change them really easily. So you can see that I got the kick B right now, but I can change it to A, just like that. Back to B, and now to C. See, that's really cool. You can also change your whole drum kit at once by just clicking one of these here, Dirty, Noble, Prime, Tight, and Desk. Dark! Oh, The R is opposite because it's rock and roll and edgy, right? But yeah, dark. See, every time you press it, it changes the drums here. So dirty is A, as you can see. Noble is D, B sometimes. But anyways, these are different combinations that they kind of named kits, where you have different combinations of drum pieces and each one has different characteristics. So let's quickly check the difference between the kits. This is dirty. This is noble. The kick on noble is really cool. It's really, really massive. Prime. This is a really focused one, right? It's pretty cool. Tight, maybe even more focused. Let's check it out. Yeah, everything is more focused and in the center in that one. And dark. It is a bit darker, so they're not lying with these names here. You also have this little slider here to smack things. So the higher you put this up, the more brutal your drums will be, I guess. They will be more aggressive. You see, it gets more thump actually, it gets more pressure. It's weird. Yeah, it does get more smack. I gotta give it to them. The names are quite correct. Here we have other presets, which is cool. I like presets, and I like that you can mix presets, because you find something that you kind of like and then you play around with other presets and you find something that's really what you like. These are mixed presets, so how your drums are mixed. Again, the names are pretty accurate, but we can check them all out again. So this is a gentle mix. So a bit less aggressive, right? A bit more chilled out. Slam. Probably gonna slam. Let's hear it. Yeah, it kind of has the sound of the snare. It's quite cool. Bite. Bite is good because it's really, really, really crispy, I would say. Is that a good word? Talk about drums crispy? It feels like it's gonna cut right through the mix. It's quite cool if you need like a mix with really, really cut through drums. This is a good preset. Crush. Yeah, a bit more distorted for sure. Bounce adds this low end that does make the drums a little bit more danceable, if you know what I mean. And wide. And now the drums come out of the center and kind of go to the sides. And again, you can choose the amount of the mix preset here. So let's go for bounce, which is the one that I like the most. This is all the way up, bounce. All the way down. Way less aggressive. You can also play around with the reverb, and you can play around with the grit, which is kind of a way to make your drums a little bit more crispy and more aggressive. And maximize is just like a final compression, clips your drums and make them really, really loud. So we can check that out. This is pretty cool. So everything in this plugin is kind of built to make your drums go from just raw to really aggressive and really processed, which is really cool because you can choose what you want to do, right? Now going back to me personally, when I use this plugin in this song, the presets were really cool to get me going. They were really cool to get me writing my song and writing my drum parts and just making me feel really, really excited to do the song, right? But when it came to the part of mixing the song, I kind of wanted more control over my drums, which is also possible right here. Because the thing that really impressed me about this plugin is that the samples are awesome. Like, I'm a guy that I'm really not a fan of pristine recordings and perfect sounding mixes and all that stuff. I'm a fan of a little bit of dirt on everything. And these samples are dirty, man. They sound like the drums that I would record myself, maybe in a garage, in a friend's house, maybe in a weird environment. When you just gotta record drums and you you go anywhere you can access because you don't want to pay for a studio. So you go anywhere you can get a drummer playing loud and you do it there. And the samples on this plugin really reminded me of my style of recording drums, which is a little bit dirty, using a lot of the room sound, using a lot of crazy compression and miking positions. It's just, I loved the samples. The samples are so cool. So to start my song, I chose a preset. As I usually do, I just came to the like all-star ones right here. Usually every plugin has like this all-star section for their presets. And here it's introduction. I chose Crossover Dude. And this is the sound that I had. But now to gain full control of my drums, it's really easy in this plugin because some plugins you really gotta go into the routing of things. But with this plugin, you see you have this option here, output, and you can choose individual or master. And if you choose individual, it goes out to a standard kick output. So the first output of this plugin is gonna be the kick. The next one's gonna be the snare, the tom, the hi-hat, the ride, the crash, the overheads, and the room. Really easy. And then in Ableton, all I did was, you see right here, my drums, I chose my OG drums, which is the plugin track up here. I chose that track as my source and I chose the different outputs right here from the plugin for each of my tracks. So the kick was the first one. They call it out 2, but because out 1 is like the main output of the plugin, so usually the kick output's always going to be output 2. So for the kick, I chose output 2 right here. You see, for the snare, output 3 and so on. And then all I had to do is press record on my drum tracks and it would record the sound from each individual drum piece from the plugin into a different track. I made a video about this using another plugin a long time ago, but you can check that out. I'll leave a link somewhere up here. But that's the main idea. After that, I still played around a little bit with the plugin and I made my own little preset here called Grunge Julian. And as you can see, my preset already has all the pieces going out to the individual output. I played around a little bit with the sound of each drum. I changed some pieces. I really mixed the kits that they have in here a lot to get my perfect Julian sound, you know? And then you see, as I said before, all you have to do is press record on your drum tracks and record on Ableton. And it's gonna record your drums right there from the plugin. I already did that, so it's all good. It's right here. I also like to have the drums recorded so I can edit the audio a little bit, as you can see down here. But yeah, now I had the awesome sound of the individual samples in the plugin, in individual tracks in Ableton, so I could make my own mix and kind of fuck around with them a little bit. You know, the plugin was aggressive, but you can always get more aggressive. So as you can see, I usually use the SSL strip on the individual tracks right here. See the kick, the snare, and I do very minimal mixing on each sample because the samples were already quite good coming from the plugin. So I just kind of mixed them a little bit to make them cut through my mix a little bit more. But the big trick is to play around in the drum bus right here. And you can see that in my drum bus, I have a lot of stuff. In my drum bus, I have an EQ, a Pultec EQ to bring more low end and more high end and make it a little bit more mix ready, you know. I have an API compressor to really glue those drums together a lot. I love this compressor. This one and the SSL bus compressor, they're amazing for drums. You see, not a lot of compression here, but gluing everything together. What else? I have my favorite trick, which is using an audio effect rack in Ableton, right? I have a little bit of OTT, which is a preset in Ableton, a very famous preset, especially for EDM producers. But if you go here in Dynamics, and multi-band dynamics and OTT, this is the preset. All you gotta do is either play around with the mix amount here, or in my case, because it's in an effect rack and I have the clean sound of my drums still going through, I play around with the volume right here. So it's just a touch of OTT, which brings aggressiveness and high end and like just this sizzle, just this excitement. It's crazy. It's like an exciter. It's crazy. It really gives some life to every sound. So here's with the OTT. Just a bit of excitement. If I show you just the OTT, you get how it sounds. You see, he's just adding a lot to the transients and just the hype of the sound. Again, in my audio effect rack, you always have the clean, right? Just the raw sounds from your drums getting through because you're doing parallel processing, so you still need the clean sound to be the main thing right there. And I have a bus compressor. Not only I have the glue from the API compressor here, I have a bus compressor, but the bus compressor is really smashing the sound. And you see, I got it mixed in with the original drums. But because I want this to be aggressive, you see, I'm mixing it pretty high, like the smashed drums are really loud in the mix. After that, I have some more mixing, just a little bit of EQing of all the drums together, make them pop a little bit more. Fresh air is awesome to just add more high end and more hype to the cymbals and all that stuff. And it's really nice sounding. It's not annoying. So it just helps to make your drums cut through even a little bit more. It's just adding more brightness and more air to your drums. And in current music, you need a lot of those things in your mix because everything has to be in your face, really aggressive all the time. Last thing is a decapitator because I wanted just to mess around with the sound just a little bit more, make it a little bit more dirty because the dirtiness from the plugging, the dirtiness from the compression, the dirtiness from the EQs, none of that was enough for me. I need a little bit more. And nothing is better to make things a little bit more dirty than Decapitator, the OG, right? The grand master of distortion. Everybody uses this plugin. Is awesome. You see, I'm mixing it really low because it's on my bus. It's on my entire drum bus, but it just adds a little bit of crunch to the sound. Just a little bit. It's just like that up analog quality that everybody loves, right? You need that a little bit if you want your drums to sound grungy. Last trick, the trick that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'm gonna show you guys now. Every time you make a song, you have to think that the chorus has to be larger, bigger, more impressive than the rest of the song, right? The chorus just has to be louder, stronger. If your song's really good, the chorus has to be amazing, right? So to make the chorus pop is a known trick to use layering. Right? You can layer more drum sounds under your current drum sounds to make your drums bigger. Some people are against that because they say, oh, it's all in the drummer's playing and it's all in the mix and you can do it the natural way like bands used to do it. But bands used to record their own layers even before it was easy to layer using computers, you know? Many times a drummer would record normal drums and then layer electronic drums on top of those drums in the choruses to make the choruses pop. There's nothing wrong with layering. Even some of the rawest sounding songs that you hear nowadays, you'd be surprised how much layers they have. But yeah, going back to my train of thought. Layering. It's normal to layer drums on top of other drums in the chorus to make the chorus larger because we have the amazing facilities of not having a drummer. Unfortunately, I wish I had a drummer, but I don't. Not right now. But because I don't have a drummer and I'm here working with a plugin, we have the amazing capability of just getting the MIDI that's there already. You don't have to use a sample replacer. You don't have to use a trigger. Nothing. You already have the MIDI of the drums, right? So all you have to do is copy it to another track. Then open another instance of the same plugin. Choose a different drum sound right here. One that's going to complement your original drum sound, right? Then you can do whatever you want with it. You see, I personally wanted the chorus to be really heavy and really, really f***ed up. So I fucked up the sound. What can I say? Let me show you how it sounds on its own. This is with no processing. Then I put a little bit of an EQ, so it plays well with my other kick. I just really want the aggressive low end and low mid from this kick. So this is what I'm doing here. I'm cutting a lot of the high end and cutting some of the sub as well. I didn't use cassette in the end. I tried, but I didn't use it, so we can delete that one. Then I used valves, which is a cool distortion plugin where you can run your sound through a valve, but also through a cabinet. So I'm running my kick through this valve up here and also through this cabinet right here, the United cabinet. And I'm also doing a little bit of EQing in this plugin as well. So this is with the plugin off and on. You see, it does give you the sound of you playing the kick through an amp, which is also a trick that I used to use when I was in studios back in the day. I used to reamp things through guitar cabinets into the room and get the room sound, get the cabinet sound, and just really make things dirty, you know, and human and alive. So this is a good plugin for that. And lastly, I have a little bit more distortion from SSL. Why not? You see, it's just giving more pressure to the low end, even more pressure. Like, and it's not the super subby low end. It's that like low mids and lows between 80 hertz and kind of 300 hertz. That's where all the meat of the kick is. So just in the choruses, that meat comes in and it lifts the choruses a little bit. And it's also nice to make the snare more aggressive in the chorus, right? So I have an extra snare here. And for the snare, all I did was use the plugin again, choose a different snare sample, and then I just played around a lot with the plugin here to make the snare really aggressive. So this is how it sounds with no processing. You see, it's a really pointy and wide snare. You can really hear the snare reflections on the sides. And then I distorted it a lot. Why not, right? Then, to make sure just the snare is coming out of this channel and not the whole drum piece here, I could just come here and erase everything but the snare down here, right, in my clip. But the easiest way to do it was just come in here in the plugin and mute everything but the snare. So I muted the kick, the snare's going through, the tom's muted, the hi-hat's muted, the ride's muted, crash's muted, overhead's muted, room muted. And now, if I play this, I only have the snare to reinforce my other snare. And when you put everything together, this is how it sounds. Is this really massive sound just for the chorus. The sound's already big on the verses, right? But it's massive on the choruses. Just hear it without the extra drum parts. It's big, it's cool, but this is bigger and cooler. Let's put it back in the mix and hear how it sounds.
Won't you leave me? Won't you find me? Won't you let me go? Won't you let me fail? Let me fail. I'm trying to convey what I really wanna say, but I really don't know what to do. I'm ashamed of my condition, left in my affliction to pretend that I'm okay too. I'm fainting now, hear the sound of a dream that's getting drowned. Doesn't really count what I can take, I still have to take it anyway. And I don't wanna feel it, no, I don't wanna feel it inside.
So yeah, that's kind of how the song sounds. If you want to listen to this whole demo, there's a link in the description below. Thank you so much to UJAM for giving me this plugin. It's right up my alley. It's how I love my drum sound, you know. It's really cool because whenever I can't record a drummer now, I can use these drums and I'm pretty happy with them. They're really good. So thank you so much, UJAM. I'm gonna leave a link down below for you to download this plugin through my affiliate link, and if you use that link, maybe I'll get some money. I don't know, I've never been an affiliate before, so let's see how that works. But yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. I try my best. I'm really out of shape. It's been a tough month for me, but I'm doing my best here. I want to make so many more videos for you guys, but I'm really unhappy with how my videos are coming out. I just want to come up with something that's gonna be awesome for all of us, you know? So I'm working that out, but companies, if you ever want to throw free plugins at me, please do. I'm here for you guys as well. And if you like what I do, company, person, whatever you are, whoever you are, wherever you're from, press all the buttons that help me out there in this world. Subscribe to my channel, press like, comment down below. I try to answer a lot of comments, so comment down below. And I see you all next time. Thank you and bye.